Well, happy Tuesday, everyone, and welcome to Cruise Chat Live. I'm Donovan, your host and independent travel advisor with ELK Travel Company. We are your experts in planning cruise travel all around the world, whether you're visiting Alaska, the Caribbean, Europe, and destinations everywhere. We can help match you with the right cruise experience for you and make sure that you get a great deal all at the same time. Now, be sure to let us know down in the comments where you're from and certainly drop any and all questions that you have. We're going to be hearing straight from the expert today. So we want to hear all of your questions. Now, today is super special. We're excited to welcome our good friend of Cruise Chat, Andrew from VentureAshore, one of our fantastic shore excursion partners that we recommend here at ELK Travel. Andrew, thank you so much for coming on and joining us today. It's a pleasure to have you on, and I'm so excited to share more about VentureAshore and how they do shore excursions better. So welcome on.
Well, thank you, Donovan, for having me, and hello to all of you who are tuned in. I am Andrew. I am one of our national account managers here with VentureAshore. So really just keeping it high level, informational, fun, answering any questions that you have. We'll chat all things shore excursions tonight. So I will get right into it on kind of who we are, why third-party shore excursions, why VentureAshore. So I'm going to share my screen and I'll get started. Let me do this quick. All right. Can you see that, Donovan?
Perfect. I can see it perfectly. And just a reminder to everybody watching, please drop all the questions that you may have down in the comments. We have Andrew here, again, the expert. So we want to ask all the questions while we have. And real quick, we'll say hello to Dave and Deb from Texas. I know we have them booked on an Alaska cruise next year, so excited to have them on. But Andrew, I'll turn it over to you. Tell us more about VentureAshore.
Sounds good. So first off, I'll say just get into maybe why third-party excursions, what third-party even means, and just to think broader, think bigger, that it's not just your experience off the ship, but we can also help with, in conjunction with Donovan, transportation from the airport, from the hotel, out to the ship, getting on the ship, doing all of your activities, touring, experiences port by port, and then obviously after disembarkation, getting a post-cruise tour. Donovan can book your hotels for an added 2-3 nights post-cruise, and then touring around Vancouver or any city per se, and handle all that transportation, all of that touring, all of that guiding excursion. So we say in the industry, third-party excursions, but just know it's so much more than just that excursion when it comes to transportation, private guides, touring experiences, or the excursion. So why VentureAshore? We are the world's largest third-party operator of shore excursions, operating in over 500 ports worldwide. I know Donovan has done a great job of selling Alaska, so we are going to focus on Alaska primarily, but just know that we do have guides, suppliers, contracts signed for all ports globally. With that, I will say we don't have every single port on every single cruise, but as you can see on my screen here, you can obviously search that. But that is who we are. I would say what makes us a little bit different per se, or different than booking directly with the cruise line, is the experience that you'll receive. So typically when booking with a cruise line and you book a shared excursion experience, that shared experience can be as much, that excursion could hold as many as 50 individuals on one tour. So just think of if you are disembarking with 50 individuals, you're in Egypt, you're going to one of the temples, and all of a sudden there's 50 of you to one guide. Sure, you get to see the experience, you get to see the sights, but just trying to have that immersive, interactive experience to learn about what you're seeing with one person. It's a fit for some, it's a surprise for others, it's not a fit for some. So just know that is a possibility with the cruise lines. With VentureAshore, our shared experiences typically cap between 24 and 30 people. On average, though, we see anywhere from 12 to 18 people, depending upon the particular tour. So when comparing pricing, if we haven't beat them or we're the same price as the cruise line, maybe even just a touch higher in transparency, just know that the experience is typically a little bit more elevated because of the amount of people on that experience is significantly less than the cruise line.
Yeah, just real fast, Andrew, not to cut you off, but
Sure.
I think that's a great point that you're making that I hear a lot of my clients will share with me when they come back from cruises from wherever, not necessarily just Alaska, but they booked their excursions through the cruise line. And it's kind of a joke I'll make whenever talking to people, but a lot of those excursions, you're going to be with 40 or 50 of your new best friends for the day. So if you're doing, whale watching, you're going on a bear excursion, you're doing a food tour in Ketchikan, or things like that. Again, there's not necessarily anything wrong with the cruise line excursion, but it's a lot bigger group, and it's not near as personal as what you could get with some other options like you're going to share with us from VentureAshore. So I think it's great that you brought that up, and something that I certainly try to kind of share with my clients whenever they're preparing for their cruise.
And especially Alaska, because I feel like Alaska is a immersive destination where you want to get out and experience the land, the experiences, the dogs, the glaciers, the fishing.
Yep.
And to do that with 50 people versus 14 people really will give you a different experience. And I'll just share this again about Egypt. I was just there in April. We were at the Valley of the Kings. There were 12 of us, and I saw a tour guide with the flag, and I just happened to look. It was a major cruise line that was there, and there was about 50 people. Some of them weren't even able to see what other people were seeing that were in the front part of the group because they were so far back. And so it is really a different experience when booking with the cruise line. The other thing that it's really important is the back to ship guarantee. So as you can see here on the screen in the blue bar is kind of 4 of our unique selling points, or maybe why VentureAshore. So the back to ship guarantee is something that clients always ask about. Donovan would take very serious in partnering with a reputable company that guarantees you back to ship. And so the cruise lines do a really good job, I think, to try to get you to book with them because of this back to ship guarantee, but we do offer it, and it's company wide on all of our products. So in the years that VentureAshore has been in business, we have never once needed to use the back to ship guarantee, but it is there for peace of mind, which basically means if for some reason you were to miss embarkation to head out to the next port, it is our financial responsibility to catch you up to the ship in the next port. With that, I'll say, outside of never having to use it, when we partner with our ground operators, our tour suppliers, the handlers on the ground that are executing these excursions, they have to sign contracts with us. I always say we're not an Airbnb type platform where you can just put product on and then Donovan will go ahead and book you into that tour without it being vetted. So we have a strong vetting process, contracting, and quality assurance. We actually require that they use our VentureAshore signage. They're aware of our back to ship guarantee. We're made aware if anything comes up, if it's an in-country demonstration, road work, something like that, there has to be a buffer built in from when the tour ends to when that ship is leaving port to take into account for anything that may happen. So like I said, knock on wood, in all the years, we've never had to use it, but it is there for peace of mind for all of you.
I think that is really a great call out, Andrew. And it's funny because you and I were just talking about this before we went live, but I have a lot of clients that will ask me about excursions or experiences through Viator. And I have personally, on occasion, used Viator for my own personal travel, but I always try to caution people because even with Viator, those same protections are really not built in, and you don't when you're going to book it, or even if I'm booking it for you with Viator, you don't know really what company you're booking it with, or if you're even necessarily booking with a company or just some Joe Blow that's put an excursion or experience on there. So I think for me to feel good as a travel agency owner to be able to recommend a company, right, for excursions and experiences like this, to know that VentureAshore has gone to those links to vet these companies and providers, to know that they're insured and that they're doing all the things they need to do to operate correctly, I feel really good about recommending that to my clients. So I'm really glad to hear you say that.
And even like with our transportation, like they have to send us pictures of the vehicles as part of that contract. And those contracts get renewed yearly. So we are looking at what type of vehicle. If you're saying you're using a Mercedes Sprinter van, we want a picture of the Mercedes Sprinter van, the inside, the quality, the condition, the interior. So it's as detailed as that. And I'll also share with Alaska, I think it's pertinent or important, is there are not a lot of variety of tour operators or handlers in these ports. So it is very likely that we are using the same excursion outfitter that Princess or Holland or Celebrity's using, or they could also be on Viador. They could be on other platforms because there is limited competition. But what it comes down to is that contracting again. So, if you were to go out to a site and purchase an excursion, you don't know that it is the same operator. We would know that. We vetted them. It's always quality through us. So I think that's also just a peace of mind going through VentureAshore, knowing that as well. And then also the buying power. Alaska is one of our biggest destinations, one of our most robust portfolios. So the amount of business that we send, we then obviously can get discounted or special rates back, pass that on to you as the advisor to pass on to your clients. So super competitively priced in Alaska. And when I get into the destination here a little bit, there's some great Black Friday sales going on for Alaska as well.
There are.
A couple other things that I'll mention quick is our don't port, don't pay security promise. And basically, if you've ever been on a cruise or you haven't, non-porting is a thing. And that basically, whether or for any reason that the ship cannot port, it can happen. And so in the case that this does happen, we immediately are notified for the cruise line of a non-porting situation. We then start to refund all of your excursion costs if that ship does not port. We have the hassle-free cancellation. So up to 7 days, you can cancel, no questions asked. And then we have a new deposit option as well, which is really nice, especially for Alaska if you are looking at anything private, glacial landings via helicopter, whale watching, just maybe the more expensive excursions. You should lock those in well in advance. And Donovan obviously will be in touch to do that with you. But you've just made your booking or your deposit on your cruise for your family of 4 or family of 6. You may not want to turn around then a month later and spend $5,000 on helicopter excursions for your family of 5 or 6. But so now you can hold those with a 25% deposit. So it's just more of a benefit to you as the end user to not have to pay for those in full. And then 60 days prior is when that is charged to the card on file and paid in full. Both the deposit and the final payment are refundable because they're both happening before that 7-day cancellation period.
Yeah, I think that's a good call out because I will be honest, I don't know of any other company out there, certainly not through the cruise lines, where you can reserve an excursion with just a deposit. Pretty much everybody else or through the cruise line, you're paying in full at that time. And to your point, I mean, I know I have booked, in the last 6 months, over 200 Alaska cruise vacations, and Alaska's not cheap. I mean, that's no secret to anybody. So to your point, to turn around and, because honestly, if you're going to Alaska in 2026, now is the time to be booking those big bucket list excursions, or they will sell out. And I mean, to your point, right, a glacier landing with a helicopter ride, that's easily $400, $500, $600 a person. That's a lot of money to shell out when you just booked your cruise. So having that option to just pay a deposit, kind of lock your spot in is fantastic. And again, I don't know of anywhere else where you can do that.
And I mean, for any of you listening, like it's not a sales tactic, it's not a ploy, but what Donovan is saying for Alaska excursions, now is the time to book those. Typically, I mean, our Alaska product has been live for 26 for a couple of months, but typically the helicopters, we can't get our contract signed until the end of November. The demand is so high that we actually had our contracts finalized at the end of October, the first week of November, and they're already selling for all of next season. So those bucket list excursions, now is the time. Again, with the Black Friday, we'll get into that. So keep that in mind. Perfect. So I'll just give a quick demo here, kind of what you as the one shopping for excursions could expect. Donovan does have a workflow that he would obviously be sending you itinerary links, and it really just comes to what this page, what you see here on this page. So it's really, as the end user, you can kind of self-shop, and that's the idea, is a self-shopping cart experience. Up here at the very top, if you can see my cursor, there is a destinations tab. And then obviously there's this search field, which we have the Ruby Princess filled in. And then you would just go ahead and search that particular sailing. And so I'm going to skip over to this tab here. And this is exactly what Donovan would send you, is if you're on the Ruby Princess next July, here you'll see on the left-hand side the itinerary where it's leaving from Ketchikan, Juneau, Skagway, ending back in San Francisco. So you can work port by port. And so we'll start here in Ketchikan, and you will notice over here on the right is all of the different excursions. So like, again, you can self-shop, you can put whatever you want into your cart, and then it's one single shopping cart experience purchase, and then you're done with excursions. So I'll start at the top here. Obviously, our Black Friday sale is going on, so we have these categorized on which ones are on sale here. Multi-port packages, I'm actually going to come back to those. Our best sellers, nature and wildlife. We do also have some new small group tours. This particular sailing doesn't have those, but if you know you don't want that larger shared experience, we now have small group tours specifically, and the description will tell you how many people those cap out at. So you know, maybe you only want 8 people or 10 people, that you can purchase a small group experience. Alaska is really robust, so we do have it broken down in different categories so that you can see those. So I'll go back up here though to the multi-port packages. These are some of our best sellers, and these are really good for first-time Alaska cruisers, or if you're just unsure about what you want to do. So we have bundled our best sellers, the top excursions, what people typically want to do in the ports, into a 3-port discount. So if you were to click on this best of Alaska, down here you'll see there is the Glacier Tour, White Pass Summit, and then the Totem Park and highlights, or the bus tour highlights trip. If you were to go and purchase these individually for every port, they would be more expensive. So by bundling them and purchasing this one 3-port package, you get a discount across all 3 of those excursions. We're doing more and more of these. They right now are not customizable, but it is something that's coming. Donovan, that's probably news to you as well, but hopefully in 26 you'll be able to customize and pick and choose and create your own bundle with some savings around that. So while we're here, also this is typically what a tour description page looks like, which I think is really important. So obviously you have your pricing at the top. You'll always have a description here on the left-hand side. This obviously has 3 different descriptions. Activity level, this is the activity level for these 3. It's an almost 8.5 hour tour. No taxi required. There is a transfer or a meeting point at the cruise port, which is really important for you who are getting off the ship. If you've never cruised before, that could be an overwhelming experience. So knowing that we've taken that guesswork out of it, there'll be someone there with a VentureAshore sign. There's no taxi required, no public transportation required. That will always be on your voucher and on the tour description when you are shopping for excursions. They operate all 7 days of the week, so you don't have to worry on what day your ship's porting, if that's happening that particular day. Special instructions, and then what's not included is just as important as what's included. Just knowing that no meals or beverages are included on these tours. There'll obviously be stops for lunch that you would handle on your own, and then gratuities or tips are not included as well. And I should say what is included is up here or up here. This particular multi-port one is not broken down what's included for each one. But if you were to look at the individual one, you would be able to see what's included in each of those experiences.
Sure.
Donovan, did I cover that kind of in depth enough?
That's great. And I just wanted to add, I know we have a good bit of clients watching, but kind of how this works in practice for everybody that's watching. And Andrew, you hit it nail on the head, but after you book your cruise with me, your Alaska cruise with me, within a few days, you're going to get an email, kind of an initial excursion email from me that's going to talk about excursions, and it's going to have links to VentureAshore, as well as a couple other companies that we work with, where you can go straight to this page, right? And you can start browsing yourself to see the excursions that you want. The other option that you have too, for everybody that has booked with us, is you likely have the Tern app, where we manage all of your cruise vacation on your phone, or you access it through the link that we've shared over email, and you can look at it on the internet. But on your Tern itinerary, right under that first kind of section that's under trip details, you're going to find a block there that says shore excursions made easy, or it may say book your shore excursions. And guys, you go right into that, and same thing, you'll see your links for VentureAshore. You can click on it right there, and it's going to take you straight here where you can punch in your cruise and then start kind of browsing the excursions that you may like. So what I like to tell folks is I really like doing it this way, because I find that a lot of people want to kind of look at excursions themselves and browse, because they may not always know exactly what they want to do. But if you truly are kind of lost and don't know, what should I do or what shouldn't I do, another thing that we do is within your Tern itinerary, so where you have all of your ports of call, again, we'll use kind of Juneau, Skagway, Ketchikan as an example, is we actually load super highly customized port guides for you to look at. So it's going to kind of walk through, what are the normal kind of top things to do there? What are some kind of on your own things? Just basic information like that that's kind of tailored to your group or you, and what we've talked about in our conversations in the past, to kind of help direct you if you're not really sure exactly what to do. So as long as you're going through those links, everybody, that you can find in your Tern app or the emails that we send, you can feel safe booking these excursions. I get an email pretty much immediately when you book those, and then we will actually process them and add them onto your Tern app. And then what happens from there is, once those excursions are confirmed with the on-the-ground operator, is we actually take your voucher and we'll upload it into your Tern app as well. So you don't have to worry about printing anything or doing anything special. Your voucher that's going to get you into that excursion and tell you exactly where to go, how to reach the meeting point, is all going to be right there, super easy for you to get to. So I just wanted to kind of talk through logistically how that works for my clients. And then just a quick question for you, Andrew. You kind of touched on it a little bit, but we have Molly, who is watching us live from Facebook. I have her and actually a big group of her family. I want to say it's about 20 people that are traveling to Alaska next August on Holland America. So, and they have a pretty wide range, all the way from a 1-year-old to 67 years old that will be doing Alaska together. So can you just kind of talk through in a little bit more detail, if they wanted to do like a big excursion together, their whole family, is there possibilities for us to do something like that? And what would that look like?
Yeah, so that's a great question. That is where I think VentureAshore really shines, is when it comes to group experiences. So Donovan and I would work together to get a little more detail of what Molly, your family, wants to do. We actually can make a white labeled booking page. Donovan would then share with you, but we would go out to the suppliers, knowing how many people you have, and you wanted to, let's say, do a whale watching tour with just your family, or you wanted to do the Alaska dog sled experience with just your family, anything that you wanted to do private, we would get pricing. We would put that together in a proposal, put it on that white labeled booking page. Donovan would share that link directly with you. You can share that out with your family. Everyone can book into it. It's just space for your family and the amount of people that you have going. And then we can put an option or multiple options port by port. So this screen that you see here that's broken down port by port it looks somewhat similar, except you wouldn't have as many options in every port. You would just have a couple private options or just the one private option that you want to do.
Right.
But yeah, then Donovan has a dedicated group specialist from VentureAshore that's managing all of those vouchers, all of the numbers, the payments, the documents that go out to you. And so he's got an added layer of support from us on the back end to make sure that that's seamless as well.
One other thing you just made me think of, Andrew, that I want to point out is whenever you're booking excursions through VentureAshore, and one of the reasons I love partnering with them, and I actually didn't know this, but you were sharing with me before the call that it's actually a small team, right? I think something like 13 people that run and operate the company. And for me, that makes me feel so good to know that if I have an issue or something goes wrong somewhere, I have you or I have a small group of people to go to on behalf of my clients to try to make things right or get help or get support. And I will just tell people when you're dealing with the cruise line, and again, I do have direct contacts at the cruise line, but when you're talking about excursions, it can be a little bit more challenging to kind of get things done. Should there be issues, it's a lot easier for me to just go to Andrew and say, "Hey, Andrew, can you help me out here?"
Yeah, and I thought of something else too. I want to get in quick here is when you make a booking, you are emailed all the documentation, but Donovan is also emailed that. So you're going to be kept in the loop throughout making the booking all the way up till the date the tour happens. But like Donovan said, if you didn't even answer or didn't even look at those emails, grab your voucher. He's doing that on the back end so that you're prepared with all of your information. But to answer your question, yes, there's 13 of us on the corporate team. So actually, we're our global team. Half of our team is in the UK, half of our team is here in the US. So if you are traveling on a cruise throughout Europe or in the US and you were to have any troubles, questions, we have 24-hour support. And we also have a WhatsApp number that you can WhatsApp us. And it'll be one of us 13 that is responding 24 hours to settle anything that may happen. So just know that peace of mind is there. And then also it just comes down to every Friday or every week, we chat with the team of what we're hearing from the week, what I'm hearing from advisors, what am I hearing from clients. If decisions need to be made, it's the 13 of us that talk about it and make that decision. So a ton of support, a ton of service for you from the time you make the booking to when you travel. The other thing I'll say is the ability for us to make a bespoke or a custom experience for you. So if you're looking at these Alaska excursions and there's something that you heard about that's not listed, or there's something you really want to do that you're not finding, maybe there is a shared experience, but you want to turn that into a private experience, it's worth asking Donovan. He's going to ask me. We'll get our product team involved, and then we'll see if we can make it happen. Because we have so many guides and drivers and contracts in Alaska, it's easy to customize anything that you may want to do. For an example, we just had some clients in Europe who really wanted to go to the symphony. We don't have an excursion where we sell symphony tickets, but we have a guide. We had guides in that port. We had drivers in that port. So we sourced the symphony tickets. The driver picked them up. There was a guide in the transportation. We shortened their city tour. They got to do a half-day city tour, go to the afternoon symphony, and then be back to the ship, and we made that happen. So just know that it's always worth asking Donovan to ask us if there's something you want us to create for you as well.
Perfect. I love that.
Perfect. The only other thing that I will share here then is on the homepage, if you want to just go out and kind of browse what's out there, I do think the best option is to go to VentureAshore and plug in your specific cruise information and look at it port by port. But the other option is just to go out to our destinations tab and search by Alaska, and then you can search this way as well. So if we were to just go to Ketchikan, then you can see it not broken down. Actually, my browser is holding the cookies, and so it's taking me back to this particular page. But if you were to click on any of these, it would just be all of our specific tours that we have in these different ports. So this is also a nice tool to just start browsing and to get excited if you want to do that sooner than later. Donovan, I don't think I have anything else, so let me know if you have questions or if you're hearing things.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to touch on really fast because I know folks kind of wanted to maybe look at some specific excursions maybe. But what I'll tell people is I would recommend go on here and browse, right? Just like we talked about, go to the link so that you can go and kind of look. But definitely, kind of the standard Alaska 7-day cruise that most people that have booked with me are going to go on is Juneau, Skagway, and Ketchikan. So certainly Juneau, guys, that's going to be if you want to do whale watching, if you want to do the glacier landings, you want to do dog sledding. That's kind of the main port to do those sort of things. And I know that VentureAshore has all of those type of options, a wide variety to choose from. Skagway, right? The train. Everybody talks about the White Pass train. I will say a note, make sure everybody, even the kiddos, the infants, have to have a passport when you're doing the train in Skagway because you do cross into Canada. But of course, Skagway is going to be your port for the train. But there are also some other really nice excursions in Skagway involving glaciers, some helicopter tours, zip lining if you like more adventure. Those options are definitely there. And then, Ketchikan is kind of a unique port. Ketchikan is one where if I have clients that maybe want to not do an excursion in a port, I usually recommend Ketchikan as kind of a good one to explore on your own. There are some beautiful kind of float plane or airplane, if you will, type excursions that you can do in Ketchikan. There's a lot of adventure excursions. I don't know if they're on the live stream, but I have some folks that want to do fishing. I know in Ketchikan there's a lot of fishing excursions, private fishing excursions to do. So that's where I would recommend looking for that. And then also you have the Great Lumberjack Show that takes place in Ketchikan, and that's going to be included on several of these different excursions that you can do here. So just kind of a high level look at that. Now, what I would like to touch on, and this isn't so much with you, Andrew, but I have a lot of folks who are booked on cruise tours, right? So they have, 2, 3, 4, 5, or even more days of land, typically before their cruise, but some after their cruise. And I just want to kind of call out that whenever you're on those, you're going to Denali, maybe you're going to Mount McKinley, to Kenai Fjords, wherever it may be. Those land excursions, you are still going to book through the cruise line. So that's not something that VentureAshore will be able to help us with. But I think that's a good little tip that I have. So I know I have a lot of clients who are booked with, say, like Princess or Holland America in particular, where they're going to have a shore excursion credit kind of with the package that they book. So maybe like $100 per person or something along those lines. And so what I recommend to people is if you are doing a cruise tour, you have land, I would recommend taking advantage of that shore excursion credit that you are getting from the cruise line and book an excursion during your land stay. So in Denali or the other places you may be going. That way you kind of get advantage of that where you can't book an outside excursion. But then again, I would really recommend at least taking a look at the excursion options that VentureAshore has to have a little bit more, more personal experience and likely a better price as well too. And if it works out to where, if you're only doing cruise, you're not doing land, and you still have some of that short excursion credit that you want to book, again, maybe find one excursion that you like through the cruise line so that you can use that, but then take a look at VentureAshore for your other options. So that would be what I recommend there. And I did want to add to Molly or anybody else that's watching, if you would like to sit down and kind of go through VentureAshore together, talk about excursion options that are going to be right for your group. Very simple to do that. Just schedule a check-in call with me. So if you have any past emails from me, you'll find my schedule call link just right there in my email signature, or just shoot me a quick email, shoot me a text if you have my number, and we can set up a time again to kind of go through it all together, or just me and you, whatever kind of works best for you, to help kind of pick out excursions that get the book. So Molly, I think you're traveling in late July or August of next year. So you are definitely kind of in that prime time to really start looking at excursions. And especially if you're doing want to do anything that's helicopter based, glacier based, dog sledding. Those are all those big ones, whale watching, the big ones that will sell out first. And I want to say the helicopter tours, I know I kind of blasted out an email to all of my 2026 clients because I know you guys just opened those up not too long ago. So yeah, definitely jump on those before they're gone.
And the other thing too is, Molly, I just saw your comment. Like if you go out to the VentureAshore website and just start playing around with the cart and picking dates when you're going to be in those ports, it's live. So if it was sold out, you would see that. Also, if there's limited availability of how many spots are left, that would also show. So you can always play with it. I don't think you're running into sellouts at this point. But I would say within, by the beginning of the new year, for sure, start thinking about that seriously. And once Donovan gets with me on that group booking page, if you do want to do some private things, that only takes us a few days to turn around and get to him, and then he can get that over to you. So just get with him first, and then we'll get working on that for you.
Andrew, I do have a question for you. So I have a good bit of clients that are booked for 2027, so they have kind of planned ahead. Obviously, we're too far out to be looking at excursions for 2027, but when would you recommend that they start? Obviously they can kind of start looking now because this, for the most part, it's the same excursions year to year. But when, generally speaking, can they actually start looking and booking things if they're going to Alaska in 2027?
Yeah, I would say so. Basically, in probably the later part of Q2 of 26, we will start releasing. No, I should say the later part of Q1 of 26. So next spring, we'll be releasing all of our stuff to probably be on sale for 27, with the caveat that the helicopters those contracts won't be signed until October or November of next year for 27. But always kind of I think just knowing 12 months in advance is definitely probably when to start looking, and that's a good time frame for Alaska.
Perfect. And actually, Andrew, we have another question. Would you mind? I'm going to pull your screen back up. Can we go to a specific cruise and look at some excursion options there, if you don't mind?
Do you need me to share again, or is it still sharing? Let's look at
July. I'm going to put you back on the screen now.
There we go.
So there we go. So we're going to be on Celebrity. This is from Megan. Megan, I see your question on UTV tours. So we're going to look at Celebrity on July 3rd of 26.
Which ship?
That's going to be, let's see here. What ship are we on, Megan? We're going to be on the Summit, Celebrity Summit on July 3rd of next year. So Megan's asking about UTV or ATV tours. I know there's likely some options in Skagway or Juneau. Just curious if maybe we could take a look there. I see Juneau on your itinerary. Let me pop that up bigger just to take a quick look here. And I'll make sure, Megan, that you have those links in your Tern app so you can take a look as well. Let's see.
I don't see anything for Juneau. However, I will say we have just added probably 20 to 30 new tours over the past 60 days. So this changes every Friday as we're getting new contracts signed. So it's
okay. Good to know.
Worth always checking back in. This is SUV tour. That's in Ketchikan.
I know somewhere I was looking at excursions for somebody else, and I know I ran across some UTV or ATV tours somewhere. Just trying to think of where they were at. That would be close there. I think that last one that we were just on, that looks similar in Ketchikan. The very last excursion on the screen, I think, was maybe kind of what we're looking for.
There's a Jeep canoe.
And then Adventure Cart. Yeah, that looks probably similar to what she's looking for. Perfect. So there's one example. And Megan, to answer your question, the best port for whale watching, I typically am going to recommend Juneau. Juneau, you're going to find the most options for whale watching there. Definitely. Yeah, lots of options there. I'll pop the screen back up bigger. And whale watching is one too. You can a lot of times pair it up with something else, or you can just do whale watching. So there's a lot of different options just based on what you may want to do.
Yeah, I think trying to determine too the amount of time you want to do the whale watching, because like this triple combo is really popular because you do the whales, the glacier, and a salmon, but obviously it's going to be less time doing the whale watching versus if you were to do just a full 5.5 or 6 hour day of whale watching. So keep that in mind, or 5 to 5.5 hours of just whale watching. Because like this whale watching is 3.5 hours, and then this one you have 5.5 hours total, but that includes the glacier as well. So however you want to break that down and what's most important to you.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, that's one of the things I love. So I generally, when talking to folks, try to recommend, of course, Princess, Holland America, and Celebrity is kind of my go-to recommendations for Alaska. And this is a great example of that. So Megan, your cruise right in Juneau, I mean, you can see you're there from 7 in the morning until 9:30 at night. So you could very easily do a couple excursions if you wanted to. You have more than enough time to do that, should you choose. And most of my clients who are booked are going to have those longer port times like that with those 3 cruise lines. So great questions. I appreciate everybody sending those in. Thank you, Megan. Thank you, Molly. Thank you, Andrew, for answering.
Yeah, and I think too, another tip or trick is before you start purchasing them, as you start going port by port, is obviously take a look at all the ports and what's offered, because you are going to see that there are certain fishing. Like if you looked at the one, you probably didn't see halibut fishing in the one port, but you see it in the other port. So look through everything first before you start putting things maybe in your cart, because you can do certain things in different ports, and then trying to spread out what you're doing or give yourself a variety of different things in different ports. So kind of big picture, take a look at it, take a step back and see everything that's out there first, and then start shopping.
Yeah, no, that's a great tip, because you can do a lot of the same excursions in multiple ports or very similar versions, but there are some that you can only do in that port. So if that's something that's really important to you, you want to make sure that you obviously do that there. So good call up there. And I did have a question, a text question come in from David and Deb from Texas. They're actually doing a 14-day cruise tour with Holland America, a fantastic vacation. But David, to answer your question, you were on the new Amsterdam. So you're going to have a great time there for sure. So very good. Well, I don't know that I see any more questions coming in. If anybody has any last minute questions, please drop those in the comments so we can have Andrew answer them. But just as a reminder, don't forget, for the most part, you should see your shore excursions links in your Tern app. It'll kind of be at the top section under trip details. And then also you'll get a couple email reminders from me just over time saying, hey, it's kind of time to start looking at excursions. And then again, I would recommend looking your Tern app. If you don't have them yet, you will very soon. You'll have those kind of customized port guides for each of your ports that we work on to just kind of help give you some other things to think about when you're not only selecting your excursions, but trying to plan your day in those ports. So
and also just another plug for the Black Friday. So if you see the blue and black Black Friday logo that scrolls through certain excursions, those prices listed are the Black Friday prices. So anywhere from, I think it's 15 to 45% off. So just keep in mind that this will be good through Cyber Monday, and then likely doing the Cyber Monday extension for a short amount of time. So it'll turn over quickly and they'll be gone. So if you're on the fence of booking it, I would say to definitely lean into the Black Friday sale, because up to 45% on some of the Alaska excursions will make a significant difference.
I love it. So yeah, a great time to book excursions, right? Save a little bit of money. I don't know that I ever see excursions really on sale any other time of year. So this is a great opportunity to save a little bit of money. And, just to recap, right, working with VentureAshore, partnering with them, it's a company that I feel really good supporting and offering to my clients. But the big things that I heard, right, that I want everybody to take home, right, number one, that don't port, don't pay guarantee, that return to ship guarantee. I know those are the two big things that people always ask me about. So I want them to feel super, just comfortable with that. And then again, knowing that, they now have truly a face of somebody that is a leader in that organization, and knowing that, it's a small team, that should there be an issue or a question, or can we do this, can we do that, I have a direct contact, and by extension, they have a direct contact within that organization. And you just don't have that whenever you're booking with the cruise line, or you're booking with Viator, as an example. So, Andrew, I really appreciate you giving us some of your time today to kind of walk through this and show what VentureAshore is all about, kind of look through some of the shore excursions. I really appreciate it. I certainly know that my clients and viewers will appreciate it as well. So thank you so much for giving us a little bit of your time today.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and thanks everyone who tuned in. If you need anything from me, just go through Donovan. Happy to work closely with him to help all of you experience our product. So anything you need, just let Donovan know, and we'll take it from there.
Thank you so much. And just to remind everybody, if we can help you plan your next cruise, whether it's to Alaska or anywhere in the world, you can scan the QR code that you see on the screen. That's going to set up a free cruise planning call. And most everybody probably watching has been through those with me. And I think it's just such a quick and easy way to really understand exactly what folks are looking for out of their cruise experience, and kind of get that together. So scan that QR code, go to our website, www.elktravelco.com, and get started. So, Andrew, again, thank you so much. We'll look to have you on again sometime in the future.
Yeah,
Folks,
sure.
Thank you for tuning in, and I hope everybody has a fantastic Thanksgiving holiday this week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.